WV Uncommon Place. This podcast is a variety podcast that houses numerous series to cover mental health, empowerment, podcast framework, and various intimate series to get to know the hosts. Along with occasional movies reviews and dives in pop culture with our event podcast episodes. The Uncommon Place digs into bringing guests on that stories don't fit the mold and are very different. WV stands for the great state of West Virginia, and every quarter we cover something in West Virginia. Stacy and myself JR are your hosts, so please come along for this venture to our Uncommon Place.
Welcome to West Virginia Uncommon Place. Like I said, I'm doing this is JR, I'm your host. Doing a build up to an episode called The Worst Date Ever. Everybody knows I hail from Lynchburg, Virginia by way of Lynchburg, Virginia. That's Central Virginia, 434 area code. Earlier on, in a previous episode, I talked about Movies 10, which was one of the staples of our teenage years growing up where we hung out. We hung out at River Ridge Mall, which I'll talk about that some other time, but anybody knows about a mall, so might not ever do that episode. But there was this place, and it still exists to this day, called FunQuest. It is our skating ring. FunQuest Family Entertainment Center. Now, myself personally, I was good on them rollerblades. I could do a little thing, make my legs, did a little dance. You can't see me dancing, but you know the way my voice was going. I was hitting the little dance. Back then, it was Quad City DJs and come on, ride that train and ride it choo-choo. All that bullshit like that, if that was Quad City DJs. And the 69 Boys with the Tootsie Roll and other things like that. But let me get into the event that makes the most sense as a middle schooler. And I know everybody has things going on, and their parents did whatever. But my mom was cool. My mom, Rosalind, she let everybody come over, and this is a lasting memory about my mama real quick. There was a kid that was with us, and he's no longer alive, but this kid was hanging out with us, and it wasn't that I was more privileged or anything like that or had anything extra, but he didn't have all the clothes and everything. And my mom took him aside while we were all just chilling at the crib and got this kid some gear to wear to FunQuest. Like, you know, she's like, here, let me take you shopping real quick. So shout out to my mom, because my mom was always an amazing person, beautiful inside and outside. If you got a mom like that, give her a hug or something like that. But anyway, getting to FunQuest. So when there weren't football games during the fall, or when it was getting closer to winter, when football was over with, and we didn't have much to do, you had options. You either went to the movie theater, you went to freaking the mall, or you just chilled at somebody's crib, or there was a party somewhere. This is like 13, 14, 15 years old. This is right before you can get a car. And some kids was lucky because they had an older brother or sister that could just drive them around. But my sister, she didn't drive in high school at all, so I didn't have none of that. And at 14, I was cool, but I wasn't that cool to be riding with everybody every weekend. I got hooked up and got on rides because of association with people I knew. But it wasn't like it was every day weekend thing. So my mom would take us to FunQuest. FunQuest when I was a kid was amazing because you could go different times, see different people from different schools, and that's how I met a lot of the girls that I ended up dating that weren't from my school, and seen some girls that I used to date that don't go to my school anymore, or didn't go to my school anymore, so we could rekindle the flame. Some of them spring break flames. Anyway, so going into my story, the first one starts out in the sixth grade, if I said that incorrectly for anybody. And I got out here, and it was this nice lady, I won't say her name. She went to a rival school of mine. Shout out to her mom, God rest her soul. And I seen her again, and we never broke up. Like, we were dating in the fourth grade. That was my girl. And anyway, so we rekindled the flame. Listen, I'm going to tell you how corny I was. I had the Polaroid camera with me. Like, fuck that little switch camera. I had the Polaroid. So we took pictures together. So you know, I could stunt and be like, yo, this was me for the spring break. You know, this is what I did. I don't know why I had a Polaroid camera. I just had one. Another story for another day. So FunQuest was always fun because you could go, have fun. And the goal when I was single, though, and I don't know why I was so deep into dating, but whatever, was to get somebody's phone number. And I don't even remember the girl's phone number, but I remember her name was Vanita something. Vanita whatever. her and her friend, I seen them, and you know, she was looking hella good, whatever. And don't get me for this or anything, Stacey. I'm just telling a story. But we went out, and I went over to her. I was like, let me get your number, blah, 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 blah. Something smooth. I said something smooth because I was always good with the words. And got her number, you know what I'm saying? I felt all good. Then, you know, I called the number, and it was the motherfucking wrong number. And I was like, damn. Seen her again, and she gave me the right number because she apologized because she was writing sloppy or whatever. And back then, I didn't have a phone or anything like that. I just, you know, you had to dial it up. So that was cool. So FunQuest was the thing. Like, I went out there and skated. And shout out to a guy that we lost this year, Cedric James. Cedric James was out there with his cousin Ross and his cousin Ben. And one thing that was amazing was we had these joints called the all-night skate, where you stayed at the skating rink all night until 6 a.m. And it wasn't like anything dirty. We would get out there and skate. People would sleep. You had your girlfriend, you sleep in a blanket, leaned up on a wall like a homeless person, which at that time it was cool because you get to spend the whole night with your girl. So, you know, I was one of them skating dudes. So I did my little diddy bop, hit my little flip, hit the little slide and all the extra shit that I used to do. And you know, when you do the little turnaround and skate backwards, I would go from rollerblades to skates, but on rollerblades I felt better. So I moved with the swiftness and just did my little And the girl I was dating at the time, and I'll never forget Cedric James, he put me on to something like that stays with me today. And he said, don't let nobody knock you off of your presence. Because he was a woke dude early on in life. And I would sit there and he would just talk to me, he would conversate with me. And he was a little bit older than me. He was in the same grade as my sister, but he was always down ass. Him and his cousin. Marshall Rosser was cool too, but he was older than me, so I didn't, you know. He was part of a fan, but shout out to him too. But Ben and him, they was always cool. Ben was kind of quiet. He talked too, but Cedric was on point. So Cedric gave me the game to get the girl that I got from out of Concord. Everybody know who I dated from Concord, if you're from whatever back then. And me and her was chilling at the thing, and ever so often I would lose my game. You know, I didn't know how to stay on point like Steve Nash back then, and Steve Nash is not on point now. So I would run back to Cedric, and Cedric would just tell me some smooth stuff to say, blah, 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 blah. So I'm jocking off of everything he's saying. I'm like, this dude got it. And talked to her. Everything was cool. And we stayed the night. And then I got that slow-mo kiss. I got the slow-mo kiss with the French tongue in it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I got this. So, you know, I'm feeling extra fresh. Had on the UVA colors. That's blue, white, and orange with the whatever. With the bucket hat, because I didn't have no style. I just dressed how I could. But I had that bucket hat on. Took that shit off and let my curls rock out. And no, my hair is not texturized. This is the real deal. For all those haters. But anyway. So FunQuest had laser tag. It had arcade stuff. So on the arcade end, they had Street Fighter and some other stuff. So, you know, I'm knocking heads out. And at the whole time at this all-night skate event, though, and I'll go into other details in a minute, but that all-night skate event, it was so much stuff to do. It gave me a greater appreciation of dating later, because it taught me how to preoccupy time for the person that you're dating. Like, I did stuff with her, and then her friends were there, so she had to slide and go do things with them. So I learned how to not be so, not obsessed, but like, what's the way to say it? I learned how to divvy out the time for what I was doing. And, you know, we run through laser tag, back at, with the little laser gun. It made some crazy noise, and then the joint exploded with the sound when you was out the game. So, that was fun. And outside of that, and I apologize about that part, the phone went off. I put that shit on Do Not Disturb now. And that's when I knew things was right. So, you know, the skating joint went Saturday night, and it ended on Sunday. So we went home, and, you know, motherfuckers went to sleep. So I went to sleep from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got up at 1 o'clock because, you know, at 14 years old, 1 o'clock, I wasn't going to church that day anyway. So got up, I hit her up on the phone, and she had an amazing time. And that was the first time that I learned that you can enhance somebody. And it was something simple that I did instead of just going out here and blowing money or this, and that. It was just a real simple, we went out, had a good time, talked to her, sat there, ate some pizza with her, blah, 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 blah. Did everything that you would do in a normal dating scene in that little bit of stretch of time that I was at the all-night skate. So shout out to FunQuest for that shit, because if it wasn't for them, I would never have ever got that kind of experience and learned how to go on dates and do things the right way. Now going a little bit further on with FunQuest, it was like when we was out here and we would be planning on something to do. Saturdays during the day, nobody went to skating ring because it was cheap. Then you could go at 12 o'clock. But it was always some warriors that started out at 12 o'clock and stayed all the way till 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night when they closed. Them soldiers, I had a lot of respect for them, but I wasn't one of them. I'm going to pay the extra heavy fee to get in at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening and then jump through from there, because my mom would drop us off. She'd go do whatever the hell she was going to do. Sometimes she would just chill in the parking lot. Whoever she was dating, they would meet and talk, whatever. Probably drink in the parking lot. None of my business. I don't think she drank, but they just chilled or went to, I think it was Charlie's or whatever the restaurant was right over there in the corner off that road, Grays Mill Road. And hell, when we got older, we even went over to the old mill apartments and stuff and chilled, or the townhouses on the corner. So getting deeper into this, like, FunQuest was really fun. And then sometime around 16, 17, I stopped going. But I still like to skate, so I would go different times to skate, but it was no longer the happening place to be once I got to a certain age. And now I'm an adult, and I haven't been back for countless years. I'm talking probably almost a decade and a half. And now I want to go back so bad that I'm trying to find a reason to go, one of these nights when they have like the, like the deal where it's one of these things where you can just go and it's the adults and stuff. And hopefully I'll get a chance, because it's just one of them deals where it's just fun. So I want to say shout out to FunQuest, everybody that was back in my days, the Lynchburg, Amherst, Heritage, EC Glass, GW Danville, whoever it was that came around back then. FunQuest was our spot out there on Grays Mill Road in Lynchburg, Virginia. And it was just one of those great memories. And I don't know, it was just like different periods at different points, like the music was jumping. I remember it was that techno shit. I just played it on one of my TikToks not too long ago. I wanna be your lover, gotta be your lover. La dee dee da 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 da. I ain't even singing that shit right. But it was that 90s. It was always some techno shit playing. But the techno shit hit the spot, and then the slow music was like Savage Garden type stuff. And then they played a little hip hop. It wasn't always the best stuff, but it was one of those things that it just rocked out. And those are my memories with that. So once again, I'm not going to hold you up too long. Thank you once again for listening to this episode. And like I said, this is a lead-up episode to the worst date ever. And the reason that I'm doing these parts is because this is local to my area. Shout out to 434 every day. Central Virginia. Doesn't matter if it was Charlottesville, Richmond, wherever. Danville. Well, I don't know if Danville's part of 434, but if it is, it is. Any of that. I just had to do these episodes because these were the places that I went. And once again, each one of these places plays a certain detail into the worst date ever. So once again, I'm JR from West Virginia Commonplace. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe. Please let me know if there's any other episodes or anything that you want me to talk about. You can do that through a verbal or through our email at wvuncommonplace@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on TikTok. You'll see a lot of great things, and you'll hear a lot of great things, just like this episode you're hearing now. And I am signing off.
Please follow WV Uncommonplace on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, where we have some great content, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hit up the merch store at oncommonplace.square.site. Join the email list from the website, and rate, subscribe, and give feedback from your favorite podcatcher. And lastly, thanks for listening, and tune into the next episode.